Hello, hello. You guys hear me? This is awkward. Hey guys, can you hear me? You guys hear me okay? Where's my pen now? Hello. Not sure you guys can hear me at all. Ah man, microphone issues. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Hello, Dennis, Cyril, Michael. You guys hear me? Have to make ah man, don't know why my microphone just didn't want it to work today. Some reason. Not sure why. Hello. You hear me? Is it better now? Is it better? Is it just mono? Ah, oh, damn it. That sucks. Hello. Huh. It's just one side, eh? Ah man. Stupid microphone. Not sure what happened. Try another one. Let me see if I can get the other one. You guys hear me okay? But it's just in one side, right? Yeah. Let me see if I can use this ones. Let's see what's happening. Do Scarlet Stereo. Analog stereo. Analog stereo. Nope. Computer. Analog input. Oh. Ah, crap. Hey. I can see the microphone there. Let's see if it works now. Nope. Oh, damn it. Settings. Damn it. Well, it's not. It's not working. The other microphone's not freaking working. Not sure what's going on. Stupid microphone. Alright, so I guess we're gonna just do it like this. It's gonna be mono for today. weird. Uh, unless I restart the streaming. I don't know. You guys mind if we do it like this? It's just gonna be on one side because I don't know why. I guess we're gonna do it like this because there's just no way around it for today. Let's say stop and start again. You know what? I'm gonna just stop this. Nope, still can't get in. Chic. All right, so let's do it like this. It's late. It's late, and it's let's talk about Renderman. Let's worry about microphones later. All right, so first thing is we are going to talk about Renderman, not Mantra. And why are we going to talk about Renderman? Because Renderman exists and some people use it and it's cool. Am I choosing Renderman over Mantra? No. I use Renderman for some stuff, I use Mantra for other stuff, and I use Redshift for other stuff. So they all have strengths and weaknesses, so that's good. They are all good. All right, so installing the installing Renderman, it's already on my channel. So let me just move this cable here. So if you haven't seen the training for that, the video for that, it's on the channel already. I can show you guys this. So this is the, let me close that, Discord. This is the one that you should see. The quick start just leads you to all the takes you to all the installing, where to get it, how to install it, how to set your properly your environment variables, your environment variables, making some shaders, basic shaders, and getting a simple render, even converting your textures, which we'll see if some of this. And I've seen a lot of issues with Renderman, and it is because it's a little bit different to install and to use than other renderers that are maybe meant seen to be easier. But Renderman, it's actually simple, and it's really similar to Mantra, and it works really similar to what Houdini does. So Houdini needs parameters to render stuff. Mantra does the same thing. So it's very similar. So if you know Houdini, you already Houdini and Mantra. It's really simple to jump into how Renderman does stuff. So one thing I've seen people have a lot of issues is with the let me open my file for my environment variables. A lot of people have issues with the environment variables here. So I have a few things here. Where are you going? And let me make this bigger. So I am in Python, but this should be the same thing for Mac and for Windows. If you are on Windows, don't use these forward slashes. Use the backslashes like this. Of course, you're gonna have to see something here, but there's a lot of people having issues with this. If you're getting like it can find PR man or something like that, it's just that. It's just that it's not finding this path. And once you get those two paths correct, it will just work. It's just that this simple setup, but just make sure you have the right slashes and the right paths. And you need this for to running the render and some utilities. If you want to set this in your global system, it will be good. So you can run the utilities like TextMake, which is this, to convert your textures, which is pretty good. Also, make sure you have a really recent build of Houdini. You need 15.5 and up for the renderer to actually show, because I've seen some people that don't have the Renderman shelf here, and it's because your version might be a little bit old. So if it's old, it's just not gonna be, the shelf's not gonna be there. Okay, so once you are in Houdini, once you have that installed, please go to that video so you get so you know what I'm talking about. And the other thing, it's going to the preferences and rendering. You have to enable this. If it's not enabled, this Renderman 21 here. Move the microphone over here. All right, you have to set this, just tick it, turn it on there to have render nodes here and stuff like that. And then just set the shelf again. Put the shelf here, and you have basic utilities here for the renderer, which is this shelf. It's pretty, makes your life easier to set up render node and stuff like that. And then once you have that, you're ready to start making stuff in Renderman. So let me just kill this scene and start rebuilding this. And again, I'm not gonna talk about how a renderer is better than another renderer. This is not what we're gonna do here. We're just gonna talk about them, and you're gonna use a renderer because you want to use it or not. And if you don't want to use it, you're just free to keep using Mantra. I use Mantra a lot and stuff like that. So I'm never gonna talk about, oh, this renderer is better than this other renderer. It's just about preference or whatever workflow it's at work. You need to use one or the other, whatever. Also, yeah, one more thing before we continue is you need a version of Houdini that it's the apprentice version or higher. So this will never work with the did I see the apprentice version? That was totally wrong. Let's try that again. You need the indie version and up. So this never gonna work with the apprentice version, because that has no support for external renderers. So you need the indie version, which costs like 199 US dollars, I think, or any of the higher versions of that. If you have an education version, it works with that as well. But so you need that to work with Renderman. So it's not gonna be, you can't make it work for free, unfortunately. Although Renderman it's free for non-commercial work. So that's it about that. So let's get started doing some stuff. Can you make an example of volumetrics? Let's see if we can get to that. It's pretty simple to do, actually. So let's try importing some geometry. Let me save this scene. Let's call this live. So let me import, let me create Roberto and maybe some a teapot, of course. I mean, let's make this one smaller. So we have Roberto and the teapot here, they're friends. And I have a backdrop as well, just to have something to put them on. And I know this backdrop doesn't have any normals, so I'm gonna add normals. And I think I need the reverse of that. Yeah, needs to be pointing in that direction. So we have a few objects here. Now to start rendering this thing, I actually recommend that you use the shelf to set up the initial thing, but you can do it by hand if you want. So let's create an RIS ROP here, which is gonna be the Renderman and the Renderman RIS renderer. You can also just kill it and do it here, Renderman IRS. But what doesn't happen when you create it here, it doesn't create an integrator and assign it here. So if you do it from here, you can see it creates an integrator and assigns the integrator here. So it's actually ready for rendering, which it also creates this network here, which inside will be the path tracer integrator there. So this is a bit of a it's actually a huge change from the previous versions of Renderman, which you use Reyes rendering. So now we have this concept of integrators. So we have the renderer here. If we render this, we can actually render in a few ways. You can see we have render to this, to mplay, whatever stuff. By default here it's to Houdini. If I render to disk, it's just gonna open mplay, but we have an error here and there is no camera. So we actually need a camera present in the scene. If not, just Renderman's gonna say, I don't know what you want me to do. So now this, with that, I can say render to disk. Now it's gonna open mplay. You can see mplay, it's here and it's totally empty, but it's not actually. It's actually there, but there's no lights. So let me just make this smaller. Now we can create some of these lights. Let's try the distant light first. Unfortunately, they don't work with the like pointing your camera around and control clicking on them. Doesn't work like that yet. Maybe they will do that later. So far, it's not how they work. So let's render now again with this, render to disk. And there we go, we have a render, right? So we needed the render up. You needed the the camera, and we needed a light, right? By default, it's assigning the default shader to these guys so we can actually see them. And you can see Roberto has no textures because those textures are not compatible with Renderman. But you can see this is pretty fast to do. I actually like to use the it renderer. If you just change this to it and render to disk again, it will use the Pixar's imaging utility. I think it's called about is the it doesn't say, it just says it, but it's cool. It's cool. So I like this because it shows the progress on the buckets there's rendering there. So that's why I like it. So let me make this even smaller and render again, and just put it maybe down here. So let me just fit this to the yeah. I don't want any emails now. All right, so I should close that email thingy, right? Okay, so now we have different kinds of lights. Of course, it's the new RIS shading or engines are built on the theory, I guess, that it's all based on more physical based stuff. So this is more like realistic or more stuff like that. So before we move on from the really basic stuff, you have these lights. I have this light, and I can create all sorts of lights, of course. Let's create one that it's the favorite of everyone, the dome light. Let's disable the distant light, and the dome light, which is just basically a dome of light, which is everyone wants to do that, right? Everyone wants to use that light for rendering. And if you just go to the dome light and to the light section, there's a color map section here where you can plug your HDR image. And let me just get one of the ones that I have here, which is actually one from Pixar campus. And let me just render that again. And now we have HDR lighting here, right? Yeah, IT is image tool. Yeah. And so this is pretty simple to do. It's pretty cool to use this in Houdini. You can see it's pretty simple. It used to be really hard to get this working in Houdini. You used to have to set up a bunch of parameters and stuff like that to get it working, right? Right at this level right now, it's pretty simple to get it working. You can even see the environment map here. You can see there's Luxo there, there's the Pixar studio there. So this is an HDR taken from in front of the studio, I guess. So that's pretty simple and basic, and you can get really nice results really quick with this. But let's talk about some details. You can see that in this light, I actually use a text image, and I think that the buckets are actually coarse rendering. Yeah, and I have 32 threads. So yes, they are coarse, supposed to be. So yeah, I have 32 cores here, 32 threads. So every image in Renderman that you're gonna use has to be .txt TEX or text, right? So whatever image you have, let me just open something with images. Let's say that image that I had before. If you plug something that it's not TXE or TEX or in text, it's just not gonna work. So here there's some that image from Pixar. You can see there's an EXR here, different sizes and stuff. You need to convert this to text so it works. And the way you do that is with the text make tool. You just open a command line, or yeah, you have to open a command line. Text make, put the name of the image, 4000 XR, and then I just use the same name. As far as I know, this is not automatic at the moment. Let me just make another one so I don't overwrite the one that's there. Just type the name of it, then followed by the same name, but with the extension .tex or text, and it's gonna work. No, right now it doesn't convert automatically the textures for you. Maybe they'll add that later. Right now it doesn't do it. I would like it to do it, but it's not that hard to do. Yeah, in Maya there's the ability to do that, but the Maya integration, it's a little bit more mature, but some stuff, there's some good stuff coming. That's all I can say. So once you have that, you can just use that image, and this applies to all textures. If you're gonna apply textures to your model, if you're gonna apply anything to your model, you have to convert this thing. You can't use rat. Rat, it's basically the same thing as text. It's a specific format for mantra. Rat is for mantra specifically, and text is specifically for Renderman. So you can't use anything else but text. That's just it. You can't use anything else but text. You have to convert all your textures. But it's not that bad. They will have to maybe do a script, or if you can write a script for this. It's not that hard. I actually wrote something the other day. Let me see if where did I put that? Mix training. I think it was for the latest mix Monday trick. I had some textures to convert, and I wrote a simple script, which is pretty simple. Where did I put my script? Let me find it here. So I just wrote this in a few minutes. So I'm just saying, in this folder, if you find a PNG file, just convert it with the same name using tx, and done. So I just run this script in that folder, and it converts every PNG that finds in that folder. Okay. Again, I don't prefer one or the other renderer. I use both. I like both. I don't prefer Renderman over Mantra or Redshift or anything. I just use all of them. They are all great. All renderers are great. So you have to do that for any image. That's it. All right. Let's go beyond images. You have other lights you can use here. You have the area lights, you have disc lights, and basically all these things are area lights with different shapes. So that's the fast way to get through that. The other thing that might be weird is that when you create shaders for Houdini, you create them here in the shop network. But for Renderman, you have to actually create another network here, which is going to be the RIS network. If you just put RIS shader network here, create that. You can create as many as you like of this. This could be my shaders or shaders 3 or shaders 4, whatever. Just by automatically when you click the RIS wrap icon here, it just creates one and drops the path tracer there. So inside here is where you create your shaders, and you create also your integrators, which just integrators, you can see we have a few integrators here. This is basically, let's just put it simply, they are like different renderers. So right now we have the path tracer, and you can see these are the options of the renderer, of this renderer, how this solution for calculating light will work. There's others. The really nice and cool one is the UPVP. This one's pretty cool. We can actually just create it, assign it here in the ROP. Here in the RIS section, you can assign this integrator there. To select that other one, render to disk again, and you're gonna see that this is a little bit different. You can see back and forth. They might not be that much of a difference, but I think the UPVP, it's a little bit more for more, gives like a more global illumination kind of a look, or but you're gonna have to just read what the difference of all those things are, because there's a lot of differences. This thing merge paths, and there's a lot of different things that it does here. So each one's gonna be different. Right now, I only been using the path tracer and the UPVP. There's also like an occlusion one if you want to create an occlusion pass with that. It's pretty simple, which is just gonna give you that, an occlusion. You can see that's just occlusion, and you can just change a few of the parameters here. So now let's go to the path tracer again, which is pretty cool. Now here you can create shaders as well. The VXDF section, it's all the shaders we have here. So the most popular one, I guess, is the Disney shader, which is basically the principal shader in the principal shader in Mantra. It's basically the same thing. You can see it looks pretty similar. Yeah, I've used the BCM. It's pretty cool as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that, but yeah, it's pretty cool, the BCM. But yeah, if you're wondering what the differences are by with the different integrators, you should just go to the documentation and read the differences, because it's kind of difficult to show you just everything in one video, right? So the Disney shader is basically the principal shader. This is the shader that all the other shaders are based on, or this is the I guess this is the one that started all the PBR thingy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the thing. So to assign that shader, it is here. You just assign it. Let's assign it to the teapot here. Just assign it simply with the materials up here, the material section. Select that Disney material. You assign it there, and it will work like that. Let me open the parameters. So I have a parameters here just to click it. So is my head covering anything? No, right. So there you go. You have the shader there. It's blue because it's blue here. That's the default color. But it's pretty simple stuff. You know what a subsurface is. You know what metallic is. It's set to pretty simple shader. And do I have some parameter? No, I don't. So I didn't set a subsurface color. Let's add it. You can see it's pretty simple to get a. There should be subsurface, but it's maybe the scale is wrong. But it's using the subsurface color there. So it's pretty simple to get really nice looks with this shader. Actually, it's pretty damn cool. Yeah, the surface shader, it's the more advanced one, I guess. It's more, has more stuff, the surface shader here. So we can go now to the surface shader. Let's call this Roberto. And Roberto, it's gonna have that shader because Roberto, it's cool. So now we can render that, and Roberto's gonna have that shader. You can see it's a little bit grayish now, so that's because we assigned that shader, and I'm playing this like crazy. So again, it's has simple parameters, but there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of things here. That's a lot. So again, we can change the color to something bluish and the roughness or whatever, specular. Let's make this white. So there we go. That's a really shiny Roberto there. So again, the parameters are very similar to any other engine right now. We all know what the roughness is, what the reflection color is here. This is a really basic stuff for shaders, and most of the shaders right now use the same thing. The principal shader uses all of these things as well. It's just a matter of going into the shader and just start picking around and see what it looks like. So the other thing is that you can actually layer these things. You can see there's a layer input here. You can create another surface shader and plug it here. No, you have to use the layer. Yeah. The where's the freaking layer? It's not here. Layer. So you can plug layers to this object, and you can start mixing, building really complex shaders and mix them with patterns or masks or stuff like that. You can do really weird stuff. Layer mixer. You can see we can mix to several layers here. Let's say let's make this red. Let's see if we can do something here. Red base layer connected there. Let's create another layer and make this blue. Connect this to the layer 2. I always get these things confused, but let's see if it works. And the mask, let's use something for the mask, because if we don't use any mask, it's just gonna get the first one. Let's see what we got. We got the what do we get? This one? Layer 1, layer 2. Layer 2, it's actually not enabled there. So layer 1 has that. So there we go. Layer 1. It's why is it blue? It's not mixing the layers. We need a pattern maybe. Let's see. Let's use the whirly maybe. Let's see how it layer 2 mask. I'm still getting used to this shading thingy, but I'm getting there. So let's see. Roberto has some. What am I doing here? Let me just do this. Yeah, I'm making a mess here. All right, so you can see that the map is working here, but I always forget where I have to plug the first input. This is... All right, well, you can mix your layers here, and it will be fun when you play with it, not when I play with it. So there we go. It's kind of working there. Cool. So you could just make stuff and have really amazing shaders here. So to add textures to this thing, uh, to add textures, just create a texture node. You load your texture here, put it into any channel that takes any. You can plug it whatever. Actually, you can drive any parameter with a texture. Doesn't matter. But let's see if I have something here. I know where I have a texture, so let's go to here. Textures. Let's say the wall texture. I have a. Come on. This one. So again, has to be a text file. I don't know why I named TX, but the extension it's not really important. What it's important is the that you convert that to a text format. Where did I plug that? The diffuse colored text. Yeah, that's the one. Did I plug it to the teapot? It's plugged to the teapot. Let's linearize it. Let's use that again. Pixar Disney, yes. Let's see, what are you complaining? It says that I'm stupid. Am I in the different? No, I'm in the right place. Render to disk again. Let's see. I don't see the texture, which is weird. Teapot, Pixar Disney, Big Disney. Oh, I'm using the subsurface thingy just to turn that off. So there we go. That one has a texture now. She's really plain. It's not for this object, but it has a texture and it's working. Will Houdini take? Will Renderman take a non-text file? No. Will never work with a non-text file. You need to have text files, and you can't plug a Houdini node here because you can actually create them. There's only a Renderman node here. You can't create a texture Houdini node here. So you have to use the Renderman nodes. There's no mixing with Houdini nodes. All right, so that's shaders. Again, you are gonna have to go and use the shaders to get this working, to get whatever you want, right? I'm just sharing the basic. Let's add some color to this. Let's say, because this is also one of those things that confuses people, like why is my color not working? So I'm getting this really ugly color here, right? But it's gonna serve for for demonstration here. So we have an attribute called CD for the color here. You can see these attributes are sent to Mantra to render the stuff, right? Well, Renderman uses the same exact data. It doesn't use the same data that Mantra does, but it's the same workflow. It sends attributes to the render, then the render says, all right, you have a color, I render the color, but you have to send the data. Exactly the same way, but now I assign the color, but it doesn't show, right? It's like, I don't know what you're talking about, this attribute, I don't know about it. What you want me to do with it? So we have to actually tell Renderman here with the prim bar, which is basically importing an attribute. Let me see if I don't have to rename it. Sometimes I have to rename the attributes. Let's put CD here as a color and put it into the base color, and just try that, and it's black. So why, if I'm importing that attribute here, why is it black? Well, the thing is that the attributes are not called the same in Mantra as they are called in Renderman, so you have to name it correctly. And there's also a rename attribute node here that you're gonna become friends with, and you can see it has a Renderman section here because you need it and you will need it a lot. So let's just rename an attribute so we can use it in Renderman. So let's say the CD, it's gonna be called CS in Renderman. So maybe the name is here. It's base color now. It doesn't show as before. Before it just to show the name of the variables here, but just from experience, I know that is CS. And why is it calling this? It's a primary attribute. It expects a point. So expects a point. Uniform color. There we go. Let's see if it works with. It's not gonna work with vertex color. Let's see if it works with uniform color. It's because it's complaining because I assigned it to the primitives. So now we need the CS here. Instead of CD, we need to use CS. So render that one. And now you can see the color comes to the render. So we're basically plugging the parameters as well as we do with Mantra. So for Mantra, we need the CD attribute to actually work. So now we're saying, you know what, just that color that I have, name it the way that Renderman uses it. Just import it here and use the color. Well, yeah, if you don't want to do the work for what you need for Renderman, yeah, just use Mantra if you want. It's good. It's all good. Nobody is gonna, or maybe someone's gonna say you need to do Renderman, but if you are not, you don't need to use it. Don't use it. It's simple. So that's color, and that's gonna be the same thing for a lot of attributes here in Renderman. So let's do something that a lot of people want to do, like particles. So I guess the basics are pretty much done, unless you guys have any questions. So if you have questions about the basics that I just covered, let me know. So there is, let me show you, there is some help about the parameters, but I'm trying to open my help and it's not working. Content, Renderman. So let me open this in a browser to make it bigger. There we go. Close this. Let's close that one. So there is this help in the Houdini help. This comes with Houdini. And there is help here about the parameters and all that stuff. So you should actually go and check this out. If you have, I don't know, the parameters is not here. Let me check what that is. Renderman. Shading, should be in shading. This is something else. I just saw it actually. A few minutes before we started, I saw this. Let me just search for CS. Should be something related to Renderman here. Where are you? Let me see. Can't find it. Renderman attributes. Renderman. What? Can't find that. I don't know why. Renderman attribute name. There we go. Attribute rename. In the attribute rename, there's some examples about what the Renderman specs. So CD is CS, and the type is vertex color. So there's a few parameters here, but you can just look around in the internet. It's not that hard to know what stuff. But maybe it doesn't need to. I don't know. Let's try if I just call this CD or color. Let's see if I call this color. Maybe it just imports it like that. Maybe, I don't know. Haven't tried, but it could work. There we go. So you don't actually need to use the actual name. You can just call it whatever color. It's just a reference to this, and it's gonna work here. So it's cool. Works fine as well. All right. So let's do some particles. It's something that people ask a lot about, like particles and stuff like that. Was there any questions? Particles volume for you can render all that in Houdini. All right, so let's make a new scene. Let's save this scene as mix Arman party calls. I don't know why I'm gonna name it like that, but it's gonna be cool. All right, so let's create a torus, and let's move it up. Let's create a ground plane. Let's emit particles from it, and they're bouncing around in the floor, which is pretty exciting. Yay, particles in the floor. So how can you render these particles with Renderman? Oh, it's gonna be hard, so get ready. If you're not for setting stuff, stay away. So it's gonna be actually very simple. It's almost as the same thing as Renderman, as Mantra actually. So let's we have a camera. Let's create a light. Let's put a dome light because dome lights are cool. Let's create a render up, and let's start rendering to this. Let's make this smaller. So this is huge. Let me cancel that. Let me start again. Okay, so we render this and there's no particles. Why? And I'm actually gonna add colors to these particles to make them more visible here. So let's go here. Let's apply a color sub again. And let's make this random color. So now when I play, the particles have the color there. So they are inheriting the color. It's pretty cool. There's a bunch of them. And again, we don't have any particles, right? So just as we need in Renderman and just as we need in Mantra, we need to set the points to render as points. And this is something that you're gonna do a lot, like just going to this gear icon here and add parameters that are not present here, because by default this is set for Mantra, right? That like Houdini is not like, oh, are you gonna use Renderman? It's just, it doesn't know. So you have to add some parameters here. You can save your stuff that you add here for defaults, but I don't do that. So you can go here to the so again, select the node, gear icon, edit render parameters, go to the pixel renderman 21 if you are using 21, and go to geometry, render as points. You can see I have a filter here, but if you don't have a filter, it's gonna be way bigger. Collapse everything. You're gonna have, or just render, just filter by searching for points. And in the geometry section, there's a render as points. Add that one. You can see it's gonna add it in the geometry section. Apply. So there is now this render as points parameter there. Check that. Now render, and it's gonna be hell. Oh my god, what is that? Huge blob of particles. So now the particles are there, and they render exactly as they do in Mantra. They're just spheres. So now, as we do in Mantra, we need to set a parameter to make them scale. So the p scale parameter actually works. So let's just set the attribute create. So just set the p scale parameter as we always do in Mantra, and set that to 0.1. Render that again. Parameters. You can see that works. That is, it's working perfect. So just need to change the size of the particles to the size that you want. So there we go. I'm gonna leave them a little bit big so you guys can see them. So it's pretty cool. So to color again, we just do the same thing. Let's just do the attribute rename. It's just, I don't see it being difficult actually, but some people let's just name it color. We already learned that we can use color there, so let's name this to vertex color. Just change that to vertex color. Let's go to the top. We don't have a shader for this, so let's create maybe let's do Disney. Let's call these particles. And again, we're gonna do the same thing. You can see this is just, once you know this, it's just pretty simple to do. Color. Did I name it color or colors? Color. So now just render that, and we have no color because why I screwed up here. It should be wrinkle. Do we have the CD attribute here? Yeah. Maybe I stopped somewhere. Alright, Cyril. See you later, man. I did something wrong. CD attribute. Uniform color. No. Constant. Should be vertex varying color. Not sure what is happening now. Render to this again. Stop that. Huh. Yeah, there's something wrong here. Oh, I didn't apply the shader. So fun. Particles, accept. All right, and so there we go. There's the color on the particles. I'm not sure why I'm missing the P scale now. And me, come on, you. Why are you not working now? P scale. Point. Render to disk. There we go. So now it's working. We have the P scale for controlling the scale of particles, and we have the colors of the particles coming from Houdini. So there you go. So most of the stuff in Renderman is gonna be the same. Like for rendering, you just need to get the nerves curves and apply a width attribute and render those. And it's gonna be good. So yeah, it's sometimes you just have to just debug stuff until you get it to work. All right, so what else should I mention about this? It's pretty damn fast, actually. It's pretty fast. You've seen the renders there. This is global illumination stuff, and it's rendering really fast. We can render a full HD scene or sample here, and renders pretty quick. So yeah, this version of Renderman, it's pretty quick to render pretty nice images. So I like it. It's useful. It's just pretty damn useful for a lot of stuff. And so let's leave that to render. Unfortunately, the interactive rendering is not working yet in Houdini. Particle instances, it doesn't really matter how much you have. This renders. Oh, let's close that, and you can actually render as well in the render view here. So let's add more particles. That'll be fun. Particles. Let's see. We are birthing a few 5,000. Let's put this up to 10. Maybe something crazy. That's gonna be a bunch. Let's see. Not that much. Let's add more zeros here. Let's see. I don't think it matters the amount of particles. Renderman handles a lot of geometry. That's why it's made for actually handling vast amounts of geometry without just uh, caring for the world. So let's see how many Skittles do we have. Like 6 million now. Let's see how much that takes to render. We have 6 million particles, and let's render here in the render view. You can select the RIS here and the camera and render here. I can mention the interactive rendering is not available yet in Houdini, but I guess it would come soon. They said it, they are working on it. So it's generating the scene. Seems like it's generating the scene. Maybe 6 million was a little bit too much. Let's see if my RAM is not nah, there's very little RAM in use actually. Oh, let's see questions. Yeah, in the new RIS, everything it's global illuminated. It just means how much bounces do you want of that. Yeah. Hmm. So there you go. The 6 million particles are rendering. Of course, these are rendering a bit slower because they're kind of big. That should be a little bit smaller. But the render's almost done. That was pretty quick. So there's some glitches in the audio when I'm rendering. Uh, well, I guess we are actually almost done. So I haven't seen where you set the parameters for the amount of threads. Does anyone have any questions? I was kind of in a bad mood because the microphone issue. Oh man, didn't like that. I don't see an option here. Let me see. So, any questions, guys? Any questions? Threads. Seems like there is a threads attribute. Where was that in the? I didn't see where I put that attribute. Limits. Threads. Let's see. Let me put 10 threads. Don't know if that's gonna actually work. Let's see, render to disk. See how much of my threads are in use. Seems like there's a few in use. And let's see. Where is it? Is it rendering? Yeah. Hold on for a second. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, sorry about the skipping, guys. I didn't. I had like just rendering with all my threads. Sorry for that. And I guess I'm learning to do all this streaming thingy. But you can see, yeah, it's rendering with less threads now. Seems like. All right. So let me know if that works. I think it's using less threads now, and Maybe there's no skipping now. Let me know so I can do this when I'm streaming, not using all the threads. Okay. Uh, so this wasn't big success. Skipping, uh, mono audio, microphone issues. Well, hope that this was useful for you guys. I hope that uh, I hope that it was useful. How to render interpolated hairs. I don't know if that's even possible with Renderman. I know that that is possible with a Clarice, but I never seen interpolated hairs with Renderman. Negative values. Ah, cool. I can just maybe reserve like 2 or 4 to the threads. Alrighty. I think that's gonna be it. You guys seem like you don't have any questions and you know everything, so that's good. Let's see the P scale. Let's make this a little bit smaller and see if we can render one final thing. One final thingy. Alright guys. Yeah, I didn't enjoy this webinar as much because of the microphone issue. But it was good that you guys were here hanging out with me. Still, after all the issues I had, and just hearing me on one side. But again, if you have any questions about Renderman, if you want to know more, if you are if you want to know more about Renderman, just email me, go to the forums, or just post a question there. I will see it and I'll answer you any questions there about Renderman, about anything else you need. Just email me. Volumes, yeah, volumes is, it's really simple. Just create the volume, and just assign the volume shader. Actually, so we can do it. We can do that really quick. Is that? Yeah. All right. I'm not gonna render this anymore. Discard that. Override. You don't need to use BDBs for Renderman. Can create just. This will be the same if you have like an explosion. Let's make this an ISO offset. So there's a volume, right? Right? Let's call this density. Density. Create the volume shader here. Just assign it to the object. Assign the volume shader. Volume shader. Assign. Create a camera here. And let's create a grid. Make the box be above it. Maybe like that. And create a light, of course. Just create a rectangle. Rectangle light. That's what I want to create. Let's make it bigger. Let's render like this. Render to disk. So that's gonna be very huge. So there you go. The volume it's rendering. That's it. No special. No, nothing special. It's really simple. So there you go. You have your your volume there already. Make this smaller. Override camera. So if you go to the volume shader, you can just use the density here, density, and it will just render with this color. Your volume, of course, if you have an explosion, it's gonna be a little bit more involved, but this is basically the workflow. You just render directly the Houdini volumes. You just render those directly, and there you go. That's a volume. If this is not a box, let's say that it's something else. Roberto. Robert, where are you, Roberto? Oh, come on. Let's do a Taurus then. Oh, I saw you, Roberto. I don't know what I'm pressing. Test object. Can just make this a volume with more density, maybe. We can just render that. Whoa, it didn't render that. Discard that. There is a really good density. Yes, density. Volume, density. Render to disk. Yeah, in the Renderman wiki, there's a really nice. Why is this happening? I don't know. Am I missing something? Render, volume, here, density. This is name density. I don't know. I'm going crazy today. Should be working. Why is that working? It is a density. It is. This thing is a box with a material. Weird. When you are streaming, nothing works, right? Density is here. Nah. Let me remove the color here. Yeah, it's been a long day. Sorry for that, guys. There you go. I was coloring the whole volume there. Sorry for that. But yeah, you can see Roberto is there. You can put more density here. Rendering again. And there we go. We have Roberto there. It's pretty cool. Why didn't that? I don't know. All right, so yeah, let me find that tutorial about Renderman Fireball. There you go. Here's the tutorial about shading a fireball. It goes through the steps, but and it shows you how to get the heat and the temperature and how to shade this explosion here. It's really simple. Just a few notes how to get your temperature in the right space for the temperature nodes here for the black body, and then you get something really cool here. Alright guys, this has been awesome, but I guess I'm gonna be done for today. Thank you for hanging out with me after, even with all the issues, and I'll see you guys in the next one, right? Thank you for being here again. I really appreciate you guys being here. Really, really, really appreciate you guys being here. So that's it for me. Thank you. If you have any questions, please go to the site, post your questions there. There's a really nice section I made for you guys to post questions. So if you go to the community, there's also a bunch of all the training we have in the site, in the website, in the YouTube channel. It's there as well. Go here. There's a section for questions. Post your questions there. And if you have any issues, I will answer your issues there. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Thank you for being here again. And I will see you next Wednesday. Cheers. I don't even know how to end this today. That's how bad I am. All right.